Hey, welcome back to Hot Dog Sports. We're glad to have you. This season, the 2021 season, we're going to go through each team one by one, look at their depth chart. We started yesterday with the Washington Nationals. Today we're doing the Toronto Blue Jays, and we'll continue on. The idea is to prepare ourselves for fantasy baseball, to know the players on the teams and who's going to likely play, what position, and we can also look at where they might be in the lineup. That will help us to pick fantasy players going in the future. So before we get started, please look down below, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you on the other side of the introduction. Welcome back. So let's check out the Toronto Blue Jays. It's a very interesting team. I don't know if they'll be good. I don't know if the players will do anything individually exceptional. What I do know is they would be an exciting team to watch. They have a lot of young guys with a lot of talent. They should score a lot of runs. They could be, like a lot of the early Oakland A's teams, where you kind of mesh together and everything works really well. But again, I'm not quite sure how many of the individual players are going to be stars enough for fantasy baseball where they really stand out. So let's get started. We'll take a look at the starting pitching group. They've made a lot of acquisitions and moved players around this offseason. I think Toronto's been one of the most active teams. So their team looks a lot different than it did. And as I said, it's going to be a lot of excitement to watch. We'll start off. They have Ryu at the very top of the lineup. Ryu came from the Dodgers. He's a strong number one. He should be good for them. But let's look at number two, Nate Pearson. You may know Nate Pearson. I don't know Nate Pearson. I did a little research on him. He made his first appearance in the majors last year during the shortened COVID season. He is, in essence, a rookie. Having him at number two says a lot to me that they don't have much depth at pitching, even though they did bring in some older, experienced players. So we have at number three is Steven Matz, who was with the Mets previously. We have Ross Stripling, who was with the Dodgers previously. And we have Robbie Ray, who was previously with the Phoenix or the Arizona Diamondbacks. All three of them have quite a bit of experience. All of them have had success. All of them have had failure. So it's kind of a mixed bag, but they are now considered veteran pitchers and may be good, may not be. But let's get into the position players before we look at the relief squad. So you have Danny Jansen at catcher. Very interesting player now at first base is Vladimir Guerrero. Vladimir Guerrero, who is only 21 years old. He lost a lot of weight, is in really good shape from what I've seen. As I said, 21, so very young. He is the son of Vladimir Guerrero. We'll see what happens. He could be a fireball that, has an exceptional year. You got to keep watch for him. If nothing else, like I said, he'll be exciting. They pick up at second base Marcus Semien. He was great with the Oakland A's, particularly the last few years. He keeps getting better and better and better. I think it's a good acquisition. He was, in my opinion, a little soft on defense, so by moving him from shortstop, where he played with Oakland, to second, I think that is more beneficial. He might be able to concentrate more on his hitting, which has been good. Cavan Biggio, another son of a Hall of Famer, Craig Biggio in this case. He is also just getting started. He's 25, so he's a little bit older than Vladimir Guerrero Jr., but again, an exciting player to watch. His on-base percentage is pretty high, but his batting average is not that great. Maybe with time, he'll start to hit the ball a little bit better. At shortstop, Beau Bashette. Beau Bashette, who is one of the Bashette sons, another legacy player. He is only 22 years old. He has had good numbers. His on-base percentage is in the mid to low threes, and his batting average is around 300. He seems to be an on-base guy. I'm not sure how much for fantasy baseball, but again, fun to watch. Laredos Guriel Jr., who is the brother of Yuri Guriel, is a good player playing left field for them. The big acquisition that they did over the offseason, George Springer as center field. Springer, as we know, will run into walls for you. He's good. If he's a superstar, we'll find out in Toronto, because he won't have as many great players around him. He'll have young guys who can, maybe he can help mold, if you will. Then in right field, Randall Grichik, who was thrown on the trash pile by the St. Louis Cardinals and then moved around, has found a home in Toronto, had a great last few years. He is a good player. Maybe him, along with Springer and helping the younger guys move along, should be really good for him. And kind of a wild card is Teoscar Hernandez. Really been very much a fireball. He's come into his own in Toronto. He could be a good player for the team. He might be kind of an outside player looking in on a fantasy team. Let's take a look at the relief squad. There's really not much there, if you ask me. Their closer, Kirby Yates, was good in San Diego, has bone spur injury, had surgeries, coming back. You know, kind of hoping that everything works out there. He can be good, but he's only really shown it for a little over a half a season, maybe a full season with San Diego before the injury. And the rest of their relief squad, there's not much to say. Tyler Chatwood had off and on years, so that could be a weakness for them. So if we're looking at sheerly fantasy, you look at Ryu at the start as a starter. He would be a good pitcher to have. And then almost the whole way down their lineup, if you're going to select one, you have to figure it's kind of a wild card. You don't know what you're getting between Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Marcus Semien, Cavan Biggio, I would say George Springer, and maybe for some home runs, Randall Grichik. It's kind of an interesting squad, but, you know, we'll see how it does for fantasy baseball and how they will come along, and we'll see how the Toronto Blue Jays do, or should I say Buffalo Blue Jays, with COVID continuing and them playing in Buffalo.